South we wandered through the mountains of Pennsylvania toward the Maryland line. The truck was having some health problems, mostly due to the conditions of the highways. Too many coal trucks and too many potholes. We needed to get in off the road for a few days. Between Myersdale, Pennsylvania and the Maryland line on Highway 219 is a pullover spot on a hill. Below the hill is a river and railroad track. We pulled over and stopped. Gypsy lady fell asleep in the camper, and I sat in the cab of the truck listening to the radio. A cool September rain was tapping on the roof. The sound of the river running created a lonely feeling, and then I heard the clickety-clack of a coal train on a railroad track. A big truck came up and over the hill, and his headlights blinded me as I rolled another Prince Albert cigarette. I grabbed a rainbow-colored blanket, and I pushed it over the visors to block out the lights. I grabbed my pen and a notebook. November 27th, 1977. Rolling your own from a PA can, traveling and a-singing all over this land, running new retreads on my van, that's the way for a rambling man. Oh, the cold wind blows through the tall pine trees as the radio sings me a song, and the highway makes new melodies as you keep on rolling along. Now, I was born in the country near the Osage Hills, where the oil wells cover the plains, where there's plenty of room to see that Ozark moon while you're listening for that evening train. Now the Mississippi River is a beautiful sight, and the Tetons make me high, and if the Lord is willing and the gas price don't rise, I'll be rambling till the day I die. Oh, the cold wind blows through the tall pine trees as the radio sings me a song. The highway makes new melodies as you keep on rolling along. Roll on as you keep on rolling along. We ate in silence that night, and the mood of the road and the change in the weather had thrown a depressing feeling into the hearts of two worn-out travelers. We both missed the homes we'd had when we were younger and wondered if anyone missed us. After dinner and coffee, I went back to the cab of the truck. Mary went back to sleep. Sometime after midnight, another poem was put down on paper. November 27th, 1977. There's a rainbow-colored blanket in my window for a curtain. It's holding out the car lights while I'm parked beside the road. We're looking for a shingle-covered cottage in the mountains where the factory smoke won't make me choke like it did in Buffalo. Now, living on the road from bar to bar just don't come easy for a down-home man who's getting old and losing all his hair. But I keep it all together, writing songs and acting crazy, and I'll find that cottage by and pick in a rocking chair. Picking and a-grinning down the road of life I go, singing songs and picking about the people that I know. Tell a story, make 'em grin, and down the road I'll go with a rainbow-colored blanket in my window. Now the rain is gently tapping on my van beside the highway, and my life is slowly fading, and my home is not in sight, and my foot is softly tapping out the rhythm of the byways, and my life makes people feel at home as I'm singing through the night. Living on the road from bar to bar just don't come easy for a down-home man who's getting old and losing all his hair. But I keep it all together, writing songs and acting crazy, and I'll find that cottage by and pick in a rocking chair. I'll find that cottage by and I'll pick in a rocking chair. The truck was not running right the next morning. Oh, it ran, but it seemed sluggish. September is the month of the year that brings major changes. In the mountains, people are thinking about wood stoves and wood piles and cleaning chimneys in July. In the mountains this far south, it's a little slower. Folks don't get too nervous until the first frost. Looking at the map, it appeared there was a college not too far away. Frostburg, Maryland, close to Cumberland, Maryland. Highway 219 south out of Pennsylvania, crossed 50 west at the Maryland line. If you turn east, go about 40 miles, you'll pass Frostburg, and come to an old town. Cumberland is a town sitting at the bottom of a mountain. It's actually in a holler, a small valley full of people. The truck broke down in the parking lot of a small motel the next afternoon. The great Creator has a way of making things happen for a reason, and we don't normally know it for years. Call it fate, call it luck, call it coincidence. I personally think the magic is bigger and comes from somewhere other than the planet of luck. We needed time to get indoors, time to think, to regroup our hearts. The truck needed work. Mary needed to talk to her kids in California, and I needed to sing. We needed money. December 2nd, 1977. I just started thinking about why the seasons change and wondering why we turn round and always act so strange. We hug and then we ramble on about what we're going to do, and we talk about the things we've done and what we've all been through. In the summer we go traveling. In the fall we look around. We find a place to sit till spring. That's when we're settled down. We try to give each other all the magic things we've seen, and we talk about our brothers, and then we end with spring. When the flowers start their blooming and the hills turn shades of green, we'll all be into traveling with different songs to sing. 2 weeks later, we pulled out on the highway. The truck was fixed. We were rested up. Gypsy Lady was happier. We had a town full of new friends and places to sing, and we had about $500 to get on down the road. West Virginia, the fall of the year, leaves change, the temperature drops. You begin to feel cold and afraid. Something happens to a traveler that time of the year. It's a feeling that happens only on the road. The cold, damp air creeps in around you, and the sun sets. You dig deeper into your thoughts and blankets to shut it out. You recall things from your childhood, like mother's homemade tomato soup and fireplaces and warm hugs. Secure thoughts of home and laughter, playing with your dog, school, friends you may never see again. Imagine the pioneers crossing the prairie as the birds fly south over their heads and fall turns into winter. The lonesome hobo as the wind blows through the boxcar and the stars twinkle above the rail, and there's no home and no one to call to hear a comforting voice. The front end took a dump as we crawled into eastern Kentucky. The old truck was running rough. We were running low on money, and we pulled into a shop in some old coal mining town. An old mechanic put a new front end on and took most of the money that was left. We went on to Bowling Green and pulled into a campground, got showers, and went to bed for the night.